In January 2016, 10 years ago, Netflix launched its service in Korea, and since then, streaming platforms have become mainstream. In the past, dramas and variety shows were planned around TV scheduling, but today, many productions are developed with global releases on streaming services in mind from the very beginning. From production budgets and workflows to viewing habits, the entire ecosystem has changed. Let's take a look back at the past decade of streaming platforms and discuss where the future may be headed. We're going to do that with Chie Hye-won, culture critic and professor at Kyung Hee University. Welcome back, Professor Chie.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, good afternoon.
All right, so it's already been 10 years since the world's most watched OTT platform, Netflix, entered the Korean market. And since then, we're watching Netflix, Disney Plus, and the Korean ones, Tving and Coupang, Coupang Play, all of those, we watch it on a regular basis.
Right.
So compared to a decade ago, what do you think is the biggest change that we're seeing?
That's right. It's hard to believe that it has been over 10 years since we started watching media contents on OTT instead of television. So do you remember when you first started watching OTTs?
For me, I do remember because I started watching Netflix when Squid Game, the first season, came out.
Oh, okay. So for me...
What about you, Walter?
Yeah, what about
well,
you?
for me, I remember when I first got married, which is 2019. That's when we first got Netflix. So it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. And for me, it was a little over 10 years ago because before the global OTT platform even arrived in Korea, Cook, now known as Wave, launched in 2012, and which was primarily used as a replay platform for the network TV like KBS, NBC, and SBS. So at that time, domestic OTT service gradually began to be used more widely as internet speed increased and the smartphone became popular. So the launch of Netflix Korea in 2016 marked the beginning of the global OTT market, and over the past decades, audiences have become so accustomed to streaming service. So according to so they don't watch the television, TV shows, not anymore according to the broadcasting schedule, like a 편성표. So nobody watched the TV actually, when I was a little, I have to go home to watch TV, my favorite television show, but I can watch anytime now. So the emergence of OTT has brought about the significant changes in broadcasting industry, as it has the unifies and globalized the content production and distribution structure. So in the days before OTTs, it took time for successful programs to be exported overseas. But now, the viewers around the world can simultaneously consume the contents even without language barriers with the subtitle.
Not only did we have to run home, but we even had to record on videotapes.
Of course.
But Professor Chie, then looking back at the past decade in Korea, which were some of the most symbolic or influential titles?
Actually, the sectors with the biggest change on OTT platforms over the past decades are the broadcasting and films. So global OTTs such as Netflix and Disney Plus has launched the Korean services and are expanding their market with the local original series. So following the release of Bong Joon-ho's film 옥자 in 2017, so that was actually Netflix's the first original Korean series. So Netflix's market shares expanded with the release of the writer Kim Eun-hee and the director Kim Sung-hoon's Kingdom in 2019. And Netflix then garnered attention in 2021 with the launch of the Squid Game, 오징어 게임, and Hellbound, 지옥, and TP. In 2022, it expanded its base of Korean original contents with the All of Us Are Dead, 지금 우리 학교는, and the Glory. And in addition, the Disney Plus launched its service in Korea in November 2021 and has been steadily producing Korean original series such as Big Bad, Casino, and Moving A Shop for Killers, Light Shop, and most recently, Made in Korea.
I think I watched almost all of those. And there was also one of your favorites, right, Walter? Kingdom.
Yes, indeed there was. Kingdom was one of my favorite ones to watch. Talking about that, local elements like Joseon era zombies, as well as traditional Korean games. I mean, on paper, that doesn't actually sound too appealing, just games and maybe just zombies, but they ended up gaining very, very strong global appeal. What do you think, how do you think this was possible? Why do you think this was possible?
So, Walter, the favorite one is the first one, the first season one?
Season one, definitely.
Right. The Kim Eun-hee's Kingdom is a very unique and refreshing piece of entertainment that presents the zombies, a familiar subject to the global audiences, but set in Joseon Dynasty. So that is very, very unique. So Korean original contents on global OTT platforms tended to create emotional empathy through fantasy or creature-themed contents as they seek to appeal to the broad taste of the global audiences. In that sense, the narrative of surviving among zombies or the competing for money is a simple yet familiar structure. However, the addition of Korean culture and emotional elements creates a uniquely engaging experience. So works like a Kingdom, Squid Game, All of Us Are Dead, and Sweet Home are good examples.
I think they're great examples. And let's talk about from a creator's perspective now. So do you see greater freedom since the appearance of streaming platforms, like more people are able to do so? I know people that are also trying to submit into places like Netflix, Disney Plus, etc. Or are we seeing new standards and constraints?
Yeah, of course, OTT is relatively free from the regulation of the traditional broadcasting industry, the systems. Therefore, it allows for greater freedom in content and expression. So, for example, in Korean broadcasting markets, the network TV channels like KBS, MBC, and SBS, and the cable TV like TVN and JTBC have different standards for violence and sexuality. So, however, OTT are far more liberal in these areas. So, also as OTT blurs the lines between the TV dramas and the films, so many film directors and staffs are moving into the OTT platforms, setting a new standard for content as well. So accordingly, one of the concerns is that there is an increase in works that are characterized by cruelty and violence, so that are full of drugs and profanity, actually. So, and as the OTT series go beyond the standards of expressions, so network TV and cable TV dramas are actually feel somewhat less interesting these days.
Now, in the past, programs were actually produced within broadcasting stations.
Right.
And do you think that we're actually seeing a weakening of television? Can we say that? Or is it just a totally new ecosystem when it comes to productions?
I think we can say both. In fact, the traditional broadcasting stations have lost their powers compared to the past, as the viewership ratings and the revenues has declined. The number of broadcasting contents produced in the broadcasting system, such as TV dramas and variety shows, have also decreased significantly. So these market trends have brought about the structure changes in the broadcasting system as well. So the traditional broadcasting system is shifting toward an individual studio system. For example, famous directors and writers increasingly establishing the separate studios, producing their own contents, and then distribute them through the OTTs and the other platforms, and even YouTube, actually. So, the production companies such as Taeho, founded by Kim Tae-ho, who is famous for the infinite challenge 무한 도전, and Egg is Coming is another one, which includes well-known directors Na Young-seok, Shin Won-ho, and the writer Lee Woo-jung. So these companies have produced many successful shows like 채널 15야 and Earth Arcade, the 지구 오락실, Salon Drip, and the Earth Marble World Tour, 지구 마블 세계 여행, and they distribute them on the like a traditional TV broadcasting systems and YouTube and even Netflix. So. Personally, from my perspective as a communication major, while broadcasting stations, the traditional stations were the most desirable companies when I was in college. But now the platforms for working in the media market is very various and they open up for much more broadly. I think which is better for the newcomers.
But it looks like the masterminds behind all that are still there, but they are just distributing to other platforms.
Right.
That's correct. And like, despite the rise in production budgets, I mean, when we saw Squid Games 2 and 3 get their productions, it was massive. Debates over the IP ownership and profit sharing structures have deepened, in fact. Where do you think the core frustrations within the industry lie right now?
Right, rising production costs are a significant burden for the Korean media industry, actually. So with audiences becoming increasingly demanding and the competition between platforms intensifying, the scale of production is inevitably increasing. So the film market failure to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic has led to famous stars and staffs moving into the OTT platforms, I think which is driving up the rising in production cost as well. So also since the most of the IPs of the Korean original series we mentioned today belong to the global OTTs. So these are concerns about the sustainable the development of the Korean production companies when considering the added value that can be created in the future.
Well, let's see what the future will hold for us in the next decade. But that's all the time we have today, Professor Z. Thank you very much for your insights and stay warm.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Walter, as always. Stay warm yourself and have a great weekend.
See you on Monday.
See you.